Tom. Director Matthew is here. Tom is at his hizzy. Technical maneuverings here today as Tom needed to be at the house, and that's fine, but show goes on as usual. We'll actually have that ongoing discussion regarding the weekend that was with as it pertains to the NCAA tournament, of course, the scrimmage itself, also what I just alluded to with Florida State's series win. They have not yet lost a series this year. That's good. And now Tuesday we get tomorrow. Tomorrow we get the game against Florida, so I'm looking forward to it. So there's a lot going on as we move ever closer to the weekend that is the spring game. And why don't we start right there? Just start with the scrimmage. Now, unfortunately, you guys know this, but just to reiterate for those that don't, we do not get to attend the scrimmage. No chance for us to lay eyes on the actual scrimmage itself and tell you blow for blow what happened and give our assessment. We're entirely reliant on a couple of things. A, whatever sources you might have from inside the program that are willing to give and tell you what their observations are within reason. I think everybody that's on the beat has somebody that they trust in that regard to varying degrees. And then, of course, you can always read between the lines. I think this coaching staff, more than most, at least more than most that I've ever had the pleasure of experiencing, dealing with, working with, are pretty forthcoming about what they see in these things, the good, the bad, and everything between. Sure, they protect players the way all coaches do, or they send messages through the press after a scrimmage like this, the way all coaches do. But I think because the open door policy is the way that it is with Mike Norvell and his staff, meaning we'll be at tomorrow's practice just like we'll be at Thursday's practice. Most of the practices we do get to take in. So they know that we're watching the development of these players. We're seeing who's shining on a regular basis, on a daily basis at these practices, and who needs more work, more development, who's woefully behind, who's surging up the depth chart. So it doesn't do them much good, I think, to try to, I guess, deceive to a great degree. We're going to get a chance with our own eyes to kind of assess. So I say that to say this. I was not overly surprised to hear the report, right, from Norvell or Fuller, Atkins. The guys that we've seen play well heading into this scrimmage played well in the scrimmage. That's pretty much what you heard. You got a sense that Micah Pittman, for example, I'm just going to use him as an example. That's a kid who last Thursday put on a show. He was one of many people on this offense that played exceptionally well in Thursday's practice. I don't think there's any getting around that. That was addressed, that was assessed, that was spoken to by Mike Norvell after that Thursday practice. One of the reasons that practice went so swimmingly, both for obviously Jordan Travis and Tate Rodemaker, was because of the play of the receivers. And those guys stepped up again, did a really good job. And it sounds like Micah Pittman carried over his performance and continued it in this spring game. So, Tom, I don't know if you disagree with anything that I just said there, but the bottom line is it sounds an awful lot like a couple of things here. And let's just go through with the overview. It sounded like we had a few receivers play really well. Both quarterbacks seemed to play well. A.J. Duffy may be responsible for a couple of the best throws in this scrimmage, which is nice to hear about your young guy. Defensively, Tatum Bethune continues to be a rock-solid fixture on this defense. To me, he's emerged as a guy that may end up being our most important transfer portal player. If I was going to pick a defensive candidate, it would be him. Offensively, it's looking more and more like it could be Micah Pittman. So we'll see from there. Although Benson is said to have had a good scrimmage as well at the running back position. I will tell you, as we start kind of the assessment, again from afar, out of curiosity, Tom, I think the room that has surprised me the most, the one that I thought and this maybe looked upon as harsh, I'm just talking about the assessment of depth of talent. I did not think going into spring practice that the Noles were in a good place at running back. I thought they were fine with Trayshawn Ward, who I like, and then I had real worries. I really didn't. I'm not in love with anybody else in that room. And that includes Toa Feely, who I want to love as a St. Pete guy, but I don't see any consistency, right? So, and he's not physical enough. He's not big enough. He's kind of a guy that you have to use as a change of pace, try to get him out in space, stuff like the play against Clemson. He's got that in him, but consistently down in, down out, if you don't have Trayshawn Ward, you felt like you don't have a lot. I didn't feel like that. And now I think because of Hill and Benson and Ward and Toafili and even the walk-on, like they're good at that position. I think running back is not something I'm worried about at all. I think that's a plus group.
Yeah, it's a group that has a little bit of everything. If you need a change of pace player like a Toafili or a third down back who needs to catch the ball out of the backfield and make somebody miss, you already have a couple of guys who can do that. And C.J. Campbell and Rodney Hill has flashed too. Trayshawn Ward certainly can do that. If you need a bruiser who can get you a yard, that was the question. It looks like Trey Benson can be a home run hitter, but then also your short yardage guy. So that's good. Overall, with the scrimmage, you're right. All of the names that came up were not surprising on offense or on defense. So if they were receiving praise from a coordinator or from Mike Norvell or the intel that we mine for after an event like that, it wasn't like I heard a name or two where I said, that's interesting.
Right.
He didn't do anything for 6 practices before the scrimmage. It's an interesting time for him to decide to play well. No, the thing that I was happy about is that the defense responded. If the offense, again, if the reports came out of scrimmage number 1, that again, the offense was dominant or explosive consistently, I would have started to worry about what it is I'm watching with this defense. Because the way Thursday's practice ended, it was all offense all the time. It wasn't always that way over the course of all of Thursday, but the offense won the day. So if that turned into a bigger trend, I would have been a little bit more nervous about that. But I'm glad to hear that the defense came back, they responded, and it sounds like outside of that first group, there wasn't a whole lot of time to make those throws for either Tate Rodemaker or A.J. Duffy, which is what you would expect, because if you're looking in the trenches, Florida State is deep defensively, and they are thin offensively in the trenches.
Yeah, okay, so we go plus to minus. Minus is this entire camp, I've been perhaps the most disappointed with the offensive line. I don't think this is a plus group. I don't think this is working out as they had hoped. I think they really were hoping that Lloyd Willis and others could emerge as viable pieces to add depth to this group, which would get them in the neighborhood of 7 or 8 guys, is what I think they were hoping for. I don't see it as viable. I don't see it. I think you've got a starting 5. You might have a 6. Bless Harris has been a good addition, a welcome addition, and is making strides. I think ideally you bring in a Bless Harris to be a backup. He may end up having to start. There are a couple of guys that did start for this unit a year ago that I'm uncomfortable with if they start this year. I don't think that they're very good players. But there are 3 that I really like. The problem is, if football, especially in the trenches, is a very physical game, and we saw what happens a year ago. You lose your best lineman, who I think will be even better this year. Dylan Gibbons, had to play hurt and or miss some time, and when that happened, they really struggled up front. It can't be, just like we talk about all the time with these quarterbacks, it can't be a scenario by which if a guy goes down and misses a week or a quarter or a half or whatever it might be, that you're just rendered impotent. You have to be able to rely on another guy or 2 to step in there and play at a high level. And I don't think they have that option. I think now they're working to that end. There is still time for guys to grow and get better. In some cases, you got a guy who I think is talented enough from an athleticism standpoint, meaning he can bend and he's got good feet, but he's not nearly strong enough or big enough. And I don't know that you can add on the requisite strength and size that I'm looking for in an off season. We'll see after spring into the fall. I mean, you have to get very imaginative. So that's an area where I'm a little concerned if we're going to sing the praises of certain groups, and we will, because the team is better. The team is better. But if we're concerned about any area, I would tell you I'm a little bit concerned about that offensive line.
Yeah, I agree. I think, we can nitpick and say, is it 6 or is it 7 that you feel comfortable with right now? I think you can improve the offensive line right now if you move Darius Washington back to right tackle. But that's not what the spring is for. The spring is for experimenting and trying to cross-train and to develop. If they had to play a game this weekend, I think they'll figure it out at right guard, and they'll put Darius back at right tackle, and that's how they would match up against the next opponent. But let this experiment succeed or fail after really exhausting all possibilities. And what's that going to do in the interim? You're going to struggle in a scrimmage. You're going to struggle in the team portion of your daily practices when you go 1s-on-1s and 2s-on-2s. But, I mean, again, because it's the spring, Give everybody an exhaustive look. Give Lloyd Willis all the reps you can give him. Move up some guys from the second or third team at guard and let them rotate in and get more important reps. We've seen some of these things, the cross-training, the mixing, the matching. Once you have exhausted all of those experiments and then you think we can do this or we can't do this, then in fall camp, get your best 5 out there and let the chemistry grow. But I'm okay with them struggling because I believe they're doing so for the right reasons. They've got a functional 5 with at least one dude who can come off the bench right now. It's just a matter of how you want to rank numbers 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah,
I would probably rather have Bless Harris on the field, but if you don't, then he's your first guy off the bench. I think we all know that that's where it is right now. And then as you're projecting to the offseason, as we stand here today, it's not even yet halfway through spring camp, if you've got 1 or 2 slots to go get a transfer, because that's the amount of scholars that you have available. Offensive line, I think, has to be the number one position of need as of right now. It's not edge rusher, it's offensive line.
Yeah, it's offensive line. And here's what I mean to clarify, just so people have a better understanding of what I'm saying. It's an area where, no doubt, they have 5 guys that if you start a game with the 5 that we think should start, and many of whom did a year ago, you're going to be fine. As long as none of them get hurt. As long as none of them have a problem. And then as soon as one of them does, you got another guy that you feel pretty good about, and then I think the list is over. I don't think they have 7. I know they don't have 8. So you're at one other guy. And, a guy and a half, maybe, if you want to look at it that way.
I think you've got more options in the interior. I think you've got 3 tackles right now on this roster. That you could be comfortable playing. And it's Robert Scott, Darius Washington, and Bless Harris. Those are the 3 right now. So I think you might have a few more options down the line that you could hide at guard.
I agree.
I want to see what Estes does as camp continues to move along. They're going to give Schrader every opportunity because he's still catching up from an injury standpoint.
Yeah, he's not ready.
Potential. He's not ready today. But maybe by the fall, if you get him fully up to speed. But I think you might be able to survive it as long as you don't lose 2 of the tackles. Now, again, in the offseason, if you've got the shopping list and everybody has it, everybody wants a tackle in the country. But if you can find one who is functional, who, let's just say he's a Bless Harris level player,
yeah,
then you give me 4 tackles, you can absorb a hell of a lot more, especially since Darius Washington is versatile enough to move across many positions of the offense.
Well, when was it they got Dylan Gibbons? It was after spring last year.
That's
there
correct.
you go. So there you go. I mean, you can go now. Maybe they were lucky. I don't know. But, I mean, that's all it takes. It takes one guy like that to get, you get lucky. Kid who wants to come back to the state of Florida. Whatever it might be. You're like, okay, we got you. Especially if you played at Wisconsin or Notre Dame. We got you. Come on. Come on down. So we'll see. We'll see. Plenty of room. We're just getting started. We need to assess other areas, too. I like what's developing at corner. I like what's happening in that secondary. I think they're going to be all right there. Talk a little bit about that. I mentioned running backs. We'll get to receivers and quarterbacks, all that good stuff. And venture on in down the line with what happened. And I'm really excited to watch practice tomorrow because we'll have a chance to talk to Coach Norvell again and get him to open up a little bit more, piggyback on what we now know happened in that scrimmage. Couple of items of note away from football that I'll get to momentarily. It's Jeff Cameron, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Means fresher air, healthier residents, new green jobs, and a stronger, more resilient community. How we get there is up to you. Share your input today to help shape the Tallahassee of tomorrow. Take the Clean Energy Survey at talgov.com.
Are you hungry and looking for a new way to save some money? Ditch the expensive bites and eats for delivery options. Ordering food from your favorite local restaurant just got easier. Choose foodiestakeout.com to save 10% when you order from select local restaurants today. Text Foodies to 230-9456 and get 10% off your first order at foodiestakeout.com. Don't wait. Do it now and save. Text the word Foodies to 230-9456. Shop local and save at foodiestakeout.com.
Leaky faucet, busted pipes, clogged toilet? M&L Plumbing is here for you. For all commercial, construction, and residential plumbing issues, call M&L Plumbing at 575-9393 or visit online at mnlplumbing.com.
Are you looking for some extra cash, or maybe you're looking for some stable work, or perhaps you know a friend looking for some work? Well, consider joining the team at the Lawn Johns. Lawn care and landscaping is rewarding work. Just ask any man who admires perfect mow lines after a fresh cut. Get paid to be outdoors and work for a family-owned local company with health insurance and paid time off. Call the Lon Johns today at 322-2567. That's 322-2567 and apply today.
Tallahassee's 30-year-old funny paper and American Legion Post 13 have joined forces to become Major Morale. The new magazine has 4 more pages of post activities and military information that you probably never knew. But don't worry, it's still as politically correct and newsworthy as always. Okay, it's the same funny stuff, but it's still only available at the sponsors' locations like Keith Lawson Services, Tallahassee Automobile Museum, ABC Flooring, or Krispy Kreme Donuts. The country's best donut place has great different monthly specialty donuts like Ghirardelli, Oreo, Chips Ahoy, and too many more to mention. Sign up online at KrispyKreme.com for exclusive email discounts or download the app that lets you pile up rewards every time you order ahead. Krispy Kreme, America's favorite donut.
This is Kyle, Service Manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry books to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
Every great construction project, whether it's a new addition or renovation, starts with a plan. At T-Spark, we are excited when our clients contact us to assist with that plan. Through our team of architects, draftsmen, engineers, we can help you with your project's planning and design, potentially saving costs in the long run. Whether you have a residential or commercial project, we look forward to working with you. Call us today or visit us at tsparkconstruction.com. License number CGC 1525336.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com.
Listening to the Jeff Cameron Show will say, I remember Joe Williams well. I don't. I can't say that. I don't remember Joe Williams well. He served as a bridge for FSU basketball between Hugh Durham, which most people know, 67 to 78, and Pat Kennedy, who I knew well, 87 to 97. But he had been more notable as a coach at JU. Jacksonville University, and he took the JU to the NCAA finals, by the way, against UCLA, and they lost 80 to 69. Artis Gilmore led the way there. 8 seasons at FSU for Joe Williams, 129 and 105, the win-loss record, 47 and 53 in the old Metro. Had a couple of 21 seasons in there during his time. In 79-80, FSU finished 22 and 9, winning record of the Metro. They got beat by Kentucky, who was number 1 at that time in the second round of the NCAA tournament, 97 to 78. In 1984, they finished 20 and 11, 9 and 5 in the Metro, losing to Pitt in the NIT. Ding, ding. And then after a 7 and 10 start to the 85-86 season, he announced, I'm going to be resigning. And he did. And they went 12 and 17. And that was that. And he left the game at a rather youngish age of 52, never coached again. But that said, A notable thing that happened with FSU basketball while he was the head coach was the move from Tully way back in the day to the TLC in 1981. So it is, we say rest in peace, Joe Williams. Wanted to make mention of that as he passed away. Back to the scrimmage, Tom, back to the good and the bad and the things that we're making note of and that we're, I guess, highlighting. Things to work on before the break. We mentioned offensive line's got to get better. They got to find a couple more guys that we feel comfortable with at this juncture. Might have been a bit of a problem to start the scrimmage. One of the things you touched on that I want to also point to is that the front four for Florida State going into the season, I feel very good about. In particular, the interior of this defense, right up the gut, is going to be very strong. Tatum Bethune at linebacker has been a huge addition between, the veteran presence of Big Coop and guys like that. Obviously, they are set. Fabian Love, they've got guys that I know you can set it and forget it. They're good players. They're going to be stout. From there, Jamie Robinson. I mean, they got guys right up the middle there that you feel very good about. I think the edges you're a little bit more concerned about. I love continuing to hear that, in essence, you're seeing real growth from the edge guys. We're watching this continue. Verse is showing that he is getting acclimated. He's playing faster and faster with every passing practice. I think his technique is better. He's less robotic than he was at the start of camp, so you're seeing that develop. I can't see this scrimmage. I don't know how much he was able to wreak havoc, but listening to the coaches, it sure sounds like he had an impact on this scrimmage. So that's important that you see that. Again, are they going to be anywhere near the dominant level that they were with a potential top 15 pick? No, probably not. But are they going to be more than serviceable? Maybe even pretty decent out there I think the potential for that is there, and that's a reason to get excited. What I think is fun and is still a work in progress, but I like the clay you have to work with, is the secondary. We worry that when you have a guy that played as many snaps as Jarvis Brownlee did, and as good as he was against the run, and at times against the lesser tier receivers in coverage, he was decent. Now, not against good receivers or even adequate receivers, but he had a strength to his game and he had a lot of experience. You lose all those snaps, you wonder who's going to replace it. Well, all camp, every time we come in here, Tom, and talk about this secondary, we talk about how very pleased we were with the early assessment we've seen from Azareye'h Thomas, obviously, and Sam McCall. Those two guys are emerging players. It sounds like, listening to Adam Fuller, those guys are already moved up to second string. That's how good they are. That's the impact they've had so far. They're already on the two deep now with their talent, acumen for the game, their length, and their athleticism. And that tells me they're going to be in this rotation. They're going to get a lot of time this year. They're only going to get better. This is so good that they got here early and that they're getting acclimated. I think Duke Cooper is a bona fide starter. You're not going to have to worry about that. We knew that coming into camp, right? He's only solidified that even more. He's gotten better and better and better. Love him. Sounds like he shined in the screen. All you're wondering about is the other outside corner. We don't know who's going to be. Kevin Noles could go out there, or he may stay in the slot. We don't know. Renardo Green's a surprise to everybody. I mean, I don't know if I trust it just yet, but he's played well. He's been solid, more than solid in this camp. So he's probably been the guy that's come up the most, leveled up the most, if you will, of all the guys, because I don't think we expected that. So he's in that competition. And then obviously I mentioned Jamie Robinson and others. They've got dudes. They've got guys that you feel pretty good about. I'm not as worried about it. I don't think Florida State's going to feel a significant impact by the loss of Brownlee.
Yeah, it's again, like if you were ranking needs in the transfer portal after this camp is over, I'd be shocked if we would list a defensive back among the needs. Because I think there are enough solutions out there. And you know what? It's also worth pointing out that there is, in the short time that this coaching staff has been here in Tallahassee, a track record that they can circle the right defensive backs for early season or early career playing time, and they can develop them to get them on the field for early in their career playing time. Duke Cooper, by the end of the season, was a starter. Kevin Noles, we knew from the spring game last year, was, that's going to be different as well. And so he is also a starter, becoming a sophomore. So it shouldn't shock us that from a development standpoint, an Azareye'h Thomas or a Sam McCall might be among those who are starting by the time we get to the back half of the season, if not sooner, in that other spot, or they're at least rotating in during the game. And because the development history is there, but then also you take a look at the types of players they are. It was not quite Jalen Ramsey, first practice in the IPF way back in 2014 when you and I were 2013. When we walked in there and said, who is that dude working with the threes? That's going to work. And then Jalen Ramsey ended up starting his first game on the road at Pitt. But it's close. Those players are close. And you're right. We like what we have up the middle. Jamie Robinson, you can set him and forget him. He's a tackling machine. He's along the middle of the field, not quite a slot corner, but he's playing in that same area of the field, kind of like a rover. And then Akeem Dent has been really solid since the last 3 or 4 games of last fall's football season. He looks the same in this spring. He looks like somebody who is, again, a set it and forget it player. So you've got most of your spots in the secondary locked down. You've got the one job that Jarvis Brownlee vacated, and I think he might have been replaced anyway, and a lot of players to replace him with. I thought at the outset of camp, you might have to dip into the portal to maybe fortify the ranks in the defensive backfield. I don't think so anymore.
Word out of that scrimmage while we're on the subject of the secondary was that Travis Jay suffered an injury in that scrimmage. That made its rounds all over the message boards and elsewhere. I'm addressing it from those assessments on the Warchant message boards. That's not good because that's a guy that I still held out hope for. Yeah, I may be the last guy, but I was still holding out hope. He's had a good camp, Tom. He's looked good. He hasn't been, a surefire guy who's going to start. He hasn't been a guy that you're like, oh, hey, he's figured it all out. The light bulbs come on. But he's had a good camp, and he's responded well to the challenge. And
yeah,
I'm not so sure that we thought that was going to happen. I mean, there were all kinds of rumors that his name would be the first name in that secondary group to seek the transfer portal, and that hadn't happened. He responded to every challenge and looked like he was engaged and cared deeply and learning and progressing. So when guys take on the challenge the way that he and Renardo Green and others have, I root for those kids. I want them to do well. I love guys that don't run from adversity, and I especially love them when they have his length and skill set and athleticism. You're a little bit more patient with those guys, but unfortunately, it sounds like he's dinged.
Yeah, I will parrot what Ira said last night on Sunday Smash, which is he was spotted around campus on crutches. So, I mean, that's the word. You don't know what that means, though. I mean, we used to put people in a boot under
boots on the regular, yeah.
Right. So you don't know what the severity of it is, but you're correct. The thing I was looking for from Travis Jay was engagement level. And by that, I mean, between reps, are you encouraging teammates? Are you interacting with the coaching? Because you bring in players like Azarieh and Sam McCall, and then you have Jamie Robinson return, and you see the squeeze. You see the way the roster is going to be squeezed and how difficult it is to climb back into a rotation, and they're working him at safety. So you're looking for body language. Is it poor or is it positive? It has been nothing but positive from Travis Jay so far this camp. Hopefully this doesn't change that. And he can get back on the field soon and continue to compete. I would have thought that he might be a rotational piece. He was trending towards rotation.
I agree with that. Marcus, thanks for your contribution. It's awfully nice of you to say. And it's also really cool to hear from people when this is the case. Marcus writes, been going through a lot recently, and you gentlemen help whether you know it or not. Hashtag 4-pack of tall boys money. Thank you for the show. Appreciate that. And I can assure you, Tom still owes me several tall boys. He can collect that Marcus money and bring some of those in coming up this Friday. This Friday will be our tall boy day.
Is that right? Live on the air?
Libations Friday. No, not on the air. That's illegal. But it'll be our Libations Friday. So we'll do that. Yeah, thank you, Marcus. Appreciate it. And I hope whatever it is you're going through gets better. Yes.
I don't think that's a 4-pack of tall boys in this era. When I was an intern, that
Maybe.
$5 got the 4-pack of tall boys. But my guess is you probably want like a Sierra Nevada, 4-pack or something along those lines. It's like $20, $25.
No. You know what? Whenever it's a big board bet like we had that carried over from the previous establishment, it can be old school, sorry, low down, average ass, watery beer. It's okay. Just that's got to keep it together. It's a tall boy after work.
You know that's 13 years ago. As of a couple weeks from now, that's crazy.
Wait, 13 years ago that you were interning?
Yeah.
Oh,
and I was going on the tall boy runs for you guys
runs.
for your post show enjoyment.
Yeah, Director Matthew had less of a nefarious outing when he was a intern. He used to go get me coffee all the time, and he brought that up the other day. And even for Director Matthew, that's been a little bit of time. A little bit of time has gone by from when he was fetching coffee back in the day.
What have you done to us, sir? What have you done to Matthew and I?
Everybody, I brought everybody along for the ride. The most talented get to survive. Let's go. All of us. You guys passed the test. Think of all those other slappies that we had before you that didn't make it.
Well, when we walked in the building, we were like A.Z. Thomas, and we were like Sam McCall. You're like, these guys are built different. These guys are different level players.
They seem to get it. They get all this. Yeah, good. They're on the right side of this. I'll get to this question in a moment because there's no way we could go through the show and not address it. But they gave me a great opportunity. Christopher wrote at Jay Cameron Show on Twitter. Curious, has Will Smith contacted the JCSPR firm yet? Or do you only handle athletes and coaches? I see this as an opportunity for the JCSPR firm, to spread its wings into the entertainment industry. Yeah, I got the perfect one for Will, who's obviously suffering from mental illness, and I'm not making light of that. But you can use it from a PR standpoint to your benefit. If you've got obvious outward signs of a health crisis, a mental health crisis going on, listen, again, not making light of those things, but only noting that if in fact it is self-evident, well, a PR firm can use that all day long and deflect away. I've got deflections every which way. I'm Wonder Woman over here with the bracelets. I'm deflecting everything under the sun. You forget about it.
Well, there was no deflection stopping Will Smith's hand from hitting Chris Rock's face. And all I could think about was Richard Sherman. When he took the shot and he goes, oh whoa,
yeah,
wow.
It's an overhand slap, though. I mean, he better be able to withstand
but
that.
Still, Chris Rock ain't exactly,
he's tiny.
230. He's a tiny dude.
Yeah.
And that was full-fledged. If you listen to the Australian broadcast,
loud.
The impact is quite sound. He landed it well.
Well, yeah, because it was unexpected, and my man's hands were behind his back. Although, Chris can't be from the streets because there's no way you let a man walk up on you rather intimidatingly who looks like he has ill intent and keep your hands behind your back. There has to be a little just in case to you. A little just in case has got to come out.
Well, that tells you that it's either been beaten out of him or he was too busy reading the teleprompter or listening to his director saying, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening?
What's happening here? Get your hands up, man. Get your hands up. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
News now.
A crash Friday night leaves a scooter driver dead in Suwannee County. Florida Highway Patrol said the crash happened around 7:45 p.m. on County Road 250 involving a scooter and a pickup truck. The pickup truck was traveling on County Road 250 approaching the intersection of 217th Road when it crashed with the scooter. The pickup truck and the scooter came to a resting point on a grassy shoulder post-crash. The driver of the scooter was pronounced dead on the scene. This investigation is ongoing. 40 years of feeding families from all across the Big Bend. That's a feat certainly worth celebrating, and that is exactly what the Second Harvest of the Big Bend will do with their newest signature event called The Harvest. On Thursday, March 31st at 6 p.m., The Harvest will take place at the Goodwood Museum and Gardens. Standard tickets include admission, hors d'oeuvres from a variety of local restaurants, and an open bar and wine bar for $40 each. Proceeds will go towards helping the Second Harvest. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Clear skies this afternoon with highs around 83. Winds out the west, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies and quiet tonight, lows around 55. Daytime highs approaching 83 tomorrow, mainly clear skies. Highs level off around 80 Wednesday under cloudy skies. 76 Thursday, chance for scattered storms. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 76.
People trust Sellers for better tile, carpet, and hardwood flooring. Sellers Flooring Advisor Ryan Fitzgerald.
We understand most people don't come in with great knowledge of what they're looking for, what they need. So at Sellers, what we try to do is use our expertise to guide you through the process.
Get Sellers working for you.
We make it easy, and we have the experts on staff to get you where you need to be, and we give you the options.
On Capitol Circle Northeast, just north of Mahan Drive. Call 656-8453. Online at sellerstile.com.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true. But I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
It's Congressman Michael Waltz on the Greg Tish Show.
Good morning, Congressman. How are you doing?
Hey, doing well.
Again, just what you have to go through day in and day out. I don't know how you have hair left, or like Matty Rowe, just completely bald.
Hey!
Sorry.
And the irony of it all, the progressives are the tail wagging the dog. This whole bipartisan White House is a joke. We're just watching them eat their own.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Jeff Cameron Show is sponsored by the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans. Great
I'll tell you who's thankful. All of the outlets that require you click on videos, they love the hell out of what happened last night. Anybody that requires clicks, boy, all you got to do is put that JPEG up or whatever they call it. You're good. Anybody still using JPEGs? I don't have any idea. I don't know what those are. Just put up the thingity-do of them and you're set. Just like a still anything. People are going to click on it. I didn't see it last night when it happened. I don't typically watch the Oscars or award ceremonies of any kind because they suck. And so I don't ever watch them. And but I do frequently fall asleep rather easily, only to wake up 3 hours later every night, like an a-hole. And it's very frustrating. So last night was like most nights. Sound asleep by 10:45, wide awake by 3 a.m. No reason. And then, because I'm an idiot, I do exactly what everybody tells you to never do. Repeatedly. Think about how stupid this is, that I do this over and over again. I can't help myself. I don't want to wake my wife up. She's sound asleep laying next to me. She sleeps without a problem through the night. Not me. So I either get up, I go read something, maybe I'll play a game or I'll read a book or I'll do whatever it is to pass like an hour until I feel sleepy again. And then I make the mistake of going back to bed around 4:15, only to wake up at 5:30. It's stupid. It's stupid. Anyhow, that's me. But the worst thing that I do is when I can't sleep and I'm staring at the ceiling is to reach for my phone and scroll. And this is how I learned of the situation. Was last night at about 3:15, I picked up my phone to scroll the events since I've been asleep. I start with NBA scores. I'll look at, certain sports-related things that I may end up needing to know about before coming in to do the show. I'll check our own website at warchant.com. I'll look at a couple of news outlets to see what terrible thing is going on in whatever corner of the atlas. So I do all of that, right? And then the only thing that I saw on every scroll and the proceeding and the post and everyone was that video and or somebody's take on that video and or somebody's thoughts on that. Yes, every one of them. So I watched it from every conceivable angle. I've seen every which way but Sunday, the slap heard around the world. And I immediately did think, much like this person has asked me to do, Christopher, that this could be an easy case for the Jeff Cameron Show PR firm. It is self-evident that no rational, well-adjusted, fair-minded individual gets up in the midst of an award show over what is, whatever joke. Chris Rock has said far more, I guess you could say, potentially offensive things than that joke about, a G.I. Jane joke. Geez, that's so tame and actually quite lame. And I love Chris Rock, by the way. No, it certainly doesn't warrant violence. it certainly doesn't warrant getting up unprovoked in the midst of a ceremony to walk over and slap a guy that you're allegedly at one time reasonably friends with, I guess. So no, I don't know. It's clear that he suffers from some form of mental illness. There's something irrational that has taken hold of him, and I would use it as the Jeff Cameron Show PR firm. I would kowtow. I'd be the lowest form of PR. I would go ahead and play the victim here, Tom. I would play the victim. I would somehow turn this from me being a bully to me being a victim. And then I would somehow segue that into, I'd have to sit down with the placards and you and I would go over the many ways we could do this tastefully as to pull the wool over people's eyes, the way that politicians do. I would do that. But the simple take here is to try to wrap yourself in the blanket of victimhood.
Yeah, how I learned about it, I wasn't watching the award. The last time I watched an Academy Awards, I think it was to see if Heath Ledger was going to be posthumously awarded, the role for Joker, because I thought that was only right. But
was he? Did he win?
Yes, he did.
Okay, I don't remember. Yeah.
So that becomes the second character in history to have two different actors play a character and win an Academy Award for it. Vito Corleone being the first with Marlon Brando and Robert De Niro. But when your timeline says, was that real? And what just happened? And that's what I was before bed. It was just before I was lights out. And it was, 10 to 12 deep. Was that real? Did that just happen? It could only be the Academy Awards because it's it's a scope of people in pop culture and people I know. So then it was Oscars. So I didn't know what I was about to see. So I actually, in a way, got to experience it without knowing what was coming. I just searched Academy Awards and then scrolled until a video popped up. And then, bam. It's just right there. And it's the camera shot after it all happes when Will Smith is sitting back down and saying,
he's screaming at him and dropping the F-bombs and everything else.
That unhinged
rage on his face.
Right. It was fragility on his face as well. And that's how, if I was in the PR firm, I would position that. It was the fragility in his face, the vulnerability.
Oh, you see, you're doing you're coming around. You're coming around, right? Yes, the fragility. Suffering from a lot of pressure. There's intense pressure, and there's a magnifying glass on me and my family. It got the best of me in my effort to protect them. I'm not going to lie. I want to take this time to admit substance abuse problems, at which point I would come forth with how hard I've been battling the demons.
Yeah.
And that unfortunately on this night, most unfortunately, it manifests itself in an abhorrent act, which I take full responsibility for. And then we go from there. We start talking about my wife's alopecia and her bravery. I turn it into me getting clean and sober and the pressures of the industry.
It's a triumph.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a triumph. I am victorious over my demons with the help of my many fans and moviegoers everywhere.
And then I'm going to play myself on an HBO movie.
Oh, yeah. No, I got it. I turn it into millions of dollars.
Yeah. That's
like
it.
When I went to the rainforest and drank the tea. There it is.
Clearly, he did not have anybody in his camp who could get to him between the time that happened and his acceptance speech.
Right.
Because his acceptance speech said, I'm a vessel of love.
Yeah, it was insane.
And he didn't apologize to Chris Rock.
No, of course not.
Unless they were playing the long game, which is let's establish more that I'm nuts so that I can help this down the line. That didn't play very well.
Nope, didn't play very well. He's a mess. There's your answer, Christopher. That's the last I'll mention of that because Lord knows you're going to hear it a gazillion times between now and the end of the week. But there it is. Yes, I could turn it into it would be a skillfully done PR campaign, the likes of which a year or two from now, many people would sit back and go, well, that was masterfully done. My goodness. We went from noting what an absurd bout of behavior we just witnessed here to, my God, I really like that Jeff Cameron. He has struggled, but look at him tackling his demons. I hope he succeeds and wins another Academy Award. That kind of thing. That's what you're trying to do when you manipulate the minds of millions. That's how you got to make it work, baby. That's why the JCS PR firm is the #1 PR firm across the land and has been for 20 plus years. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Decorating Center, we're your locally owned Benjamin Moore retailer. We're your store for quality with brilliant and durable paints in a variety of sheens and thousands of colors. We're your store for service with one-on-one advice for contractors and homeowners. We're your local experts, and we're here to help with all your painting projects. Benjamin Moore, available at Epps Decorating Center with 2 locations in Tallahassee. Find a store near you and visit EppsDecorating.com. That's EppsDecorating.com.
When you need a plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to have to wait?
Yeah, hey, it's the Millers again. Just calling you about our little plumbing problem.
2 hours?
Hey, we were hoping you can get here soon because the water is getting really bad. I mean, please hurry.
4 hours?
I know you said you were on your way, but, honey, tell the kids to tread water.
8 hours?
Don't worry about us. We're fine.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mandlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
You were always more than my mom. You were my role model, my best friend, and biggest supporter. You filled my days with unconditional love. And you also prepared for the day when you couldn't be here. Because of the woman you were back then, I'm able to be the woman I am now. Your planning made this moment possible.
Set your family up for life. Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance. Your friends for life.
This is Andy Cohen. When I was a law enforcement officer, I devoted my life to a career of service and protection. Who's protecting you? Give me a call. 850-671-FARM. That's 671-FARM. Helping you is what we do best.
Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi. Not licensed to do business in all 50 states.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State.
Bumper. People were raised on the Jeff Cameron Show bumper. They don't get to hear it. Sorry. Unless you're listening to 93.3 Real Talk Radio, then you can. Then you can crank it in the car. Then you're going, yeah, that's right, Cameron. I got it. That's good. Hey, golf tournament's coming up. Can you believe it's almost April? And I'm going to start telling you here very shortly about all the support we have for our golf tournament, the JCS/Warchant Invitational, to be played April the 15th, Capital City Country Club. Man, is that going to be awesome. We're going to have a blast. And I always, Second Harvest is the benefactor here. We're going to raise some money thanks to all of you guys who signed up. And we're going to have fun on that day. It's going to be a good time. I'm really, really looking forward to it. So that is soon enough on the 15th. And I'm trying to think anything else I need to tell you other than thanks to everybody who's involved. But it didn't take long to sell out, Tom. So we did really well. We did really well. And in the coming days, just bear with us as we rightfully note those have made all this possible. There's a lot of people to thank.
Yeah, there are. We've got, 5 major sponsors, and leading the way is Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. That's where the banquet's going to be afterwards, which is going to be fun. The wing feast and the keg of beer and the awards. But there are a lot of fun stations out there too for those who are going to be golfing with us on the day, and it's all in the name of charity. So, if you're going to be putting against Corey Clark on one of the greens, the green from 18 to 1, and he asked for $20 for an entry, it's going to the Second Harvest. It's not going in Corey's pocket. We're doing it all for a great cause. And a lot of people step up all throughout the year that are listening to this program, that are business owners in this town, and we can't thank them enough. So you're going to hear about them, and we can't wait to tell you about them too.
Life Spectator wants to know, did I ever slap anybody in the face after being reminded that my hairline was receding? No, and I love the humor in the question. I had about a year where I realized it wasn't going to last. The dream was over. That this once bountiful glory that was my hairline is now gone, is now leaving me, is now exiting the premises, is now to be no more. I didn't take long. I remember the first time I ever noticed it in the mirror. I was like, oh, we got some problems here. It's like, not to make light of anybody's problems, but if you have a loved one, we all know this, that is diagnosed with Alzheimer's or dementia, the sad part about that is it's layered. It's very, very layered. But the truth is, one of the reasons you're sad in that moment is it's never going to get better. Now, that is a disease that is hideous, insidious. We've seen it in my family. I understand. That said, losing your hairline, it's a weird analogy, but the second you start to lose hair, it doesn't get better, Tom. It doesn't just magically get better. It is only going to get worse from here. That's the way I looked at it.
I remember the first time I saw a clump of gray on the barber's little bib or whatever you want to call it, with the sheet, and it was more gray than it was brown. And it's still a process. The salt is being dropped in.
Yeah, it looks good on you though.
I was oddly okay with it. I thought,
it's awfully young for me to have gray hair, but okay.
I'm never going to see what I saw last time I was at the hairstylist, so that's strange.
Oh man,
the hairline has cropped up a little bit, but it's holding strong. I mean,
it's strong. You got good hair, buddy.
I made it into my mid-30s, so whatever happens.
You're married now. What do you care?
Right. That's what I'm saying. I made it. Now now it's her problem. It's not my problem now. It's just, can she handle it? And hopefully, if the day comes, I've got the dome that could handle. Hopefully I'm more like you than James Carville or something like that, but we'll see.
Yeah. That is the key. I actually didn't wait long. I shaved it down with the quickness. And the second that it happened, I went, okay, I'm all right. Looking good. Feel good about this. Wife likes it, says it's sexy. I'm not worried about it anymore. And truthfully, I've thought in this day and age, with all these sports figures that we talk about getting their weaves, Tom Brady included, I've always thought, now they make it realistic, at least. Now there are people in the world who have gone out and gotten weaves and plants and plugs and everything under the sun that actually looks like their legitimate hair as opposed to the way it used to be. And Carl Ravitch, by the way, holds strong. He doesn't care that that's a ridiculous piece on his head. He was going to stick by it. He's not going to get the new technology. Lord knows Carl could afford it, but he won't do it. But even then, knowing I had options, I went, nah, I like being bald.
Are you ever going to try the Walter White?
What,
with the facial hair?
The goatee?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I grew a beard, but not since I've been bald. I had hair the last time I had a beard, so it's been that long. The beard was at least 15 years ago. I had it very briefly. It looked good. It was full, but I get too itchy. I don't know how people, I get too itchy. I mean, so this is a day and a half, and I'm already like, I got to shave. It's already bothering me. I'll shave today after the show. That's it. I'm going straight home to shave. That's wonder what Jeff's doing. He's shaving his face at 3:30.
No comment.
Hour number 2.
More of the Jeff Cameron Show, live and local on Real Talk 93.3, WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jason Walker. A Russian sanctions bill facing a hurdle in the Senate Correspondent Bob Agnew explains why.
Legislation passed by the House justifies sanctions against those who engage in serious human rights abuses. Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, however, is vowing to delay passage in the Senate unless the wording is changed to gross abuses. That means things like torture, cruel and inhumane treatment, and indefinite detention. Without the tweak, Senator Paul fears the legislation could eventually be used to punish individuals who deny access to abortion. Bob Agnew reporting.
President Biden releasing a budget blueprint. He calls for much higher taxes on the wealthy, lower budget deficits, and more money for police and greater funding for a number of items like education, public health, and housing. The plan also shows the splinters that persist in Biden's coalition. Also at townhall.com, that wildfire south of Boulder, Colorado that forced 20,000 people to flee, now at 35% containment, and most evacuation orders have been lifted. Resident Elliot Bloom, who had to evacuate, tells Denver's KMGH-TV, you never really get used to these fires.
As much as you try to get ready, have your box ready, have your stuff ready for the fire, it's just you never know what to take, and you're never always prepared, all the way prepared.
No fatalities have been reported. 4 people killed when a motorist drove his car into a homeless encampment in Salem, Oregon. Police arresting a 24-year-old man. They say alcohol likely a contributing factor. In Minneapolis, teachers there approving a new contract to end a strike that has kept students out of the classrooms nearly 3 weeks. The school's 28,700 students set to return to class tomorrow. More on these stories at townhall.com.
I'm about to compare a pepper shaker to a cash-out refinance. Hang with me. You know when you're at a restaurant and they ask, would you like some fresh ground pepper? And then they crank that giant tube, but almost nothing comes out? For me, only a certain amount of time is socially acceptable to wait. I know that getting that pepper out might make my life better, but it just seems too impossible. And that's what we hear people say about the cash-out refinance. People realize that the value of their home has gone up like hot pepper the last few years, leaving all this extra money sitting inside their home. But is it too hard to get out? It's Ryan from United Faith Mortgage. If you're interested in cashing out the extra pepper in your home, we're good at doing all the work while you just sit back and relax. And often, your mortgage payment and years in the loan will stay the same. If you'd like to hear about your options,
we are United Faith Mortgage.
United Faith Mortgage is a DBA of United Mortgage Corp. 25 Middle Park Road, Melville, New York. Licensed mortgage banker. For all licensing information, go to NMLSconsumeraccess.org. Corporate NMLS number 1330. Equal housing lender. Licensed in Alaska, Hawaii, Georgia, North Dakota, South Dakota, or Utah.
What's important when shopping at a gun store? Let's start with a friendly and knowledgeable staff. Then add top-notch service, great selection and pricing, and a personal shopping experience only found at a locally owned and operated business. At Red Hills Arms, they're right on target. While other gun stores come and go, Red Hills Arms remains Tallahassee's go-to local gun store for all your firearms needs. Stop by today and get welcomed in like family.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.
wait towards April, get that actual spring game in that everybody will be able to watch, and then that'll launch us into the long summer, but one in which we eagerly anticipate the upcoming football practices for the fall. This is, I say it every year. I think a lot of times we do. It's in our best interest too, because we cover this program, and it is a central theme, obviously, on the show on a daily basis. But in truth, I have real intrigue for the upcoming season. It's going to feel, hopefully not, but it probably will feel a bit like a long off season, if only because I'm so excited to see what this is. I think this is the first time that I'll go into a season in recent memory believing they have a legitimate chance to look like a pretty good team, like a pretty good football team. I think they're frontline starters on both sides of the ball, and the kids that they've brought in to help bolster that have given me reason to have some hope. That's the best way of describing what this spring has meant to me so far. There's still more to learn, to derive from these practices that we'll watch, from the upcoming scrimmages. There's another one on Saturday coming up. And so I do get excited because I think there's potential. And oftentimes I've thought in the last few years about the team that they have to avoid certain pitfalls that seem likely. They're going to have to disguise certain weaknesses that are very evident, and soon will be evident to those who, watch the film of the games that are played. I've always been thinking about what's next around the bend, and most of the time that thing that's lurking feels disastrous. It feels it's potentially a very negative effect. Whereas this spring, I've been able to derive a little bit more of a hopeful attitude by what I'm witnessing on a regular basis and what I'm hearing when we aren't able to watch. That's the difference, I think, this spring, is that I've been able to say, well, they're pretty good here. They're pretty good there. They got a little work to do here. They're really good here. There aren't too many moments where I've got, I've kind of reached back and thought, they are awful right here. That is going to be a problem. Last year going into the season, Tom, you recall, every time we got our hopes up, I couldn't help but come back to the linebacker play and coverage in particular. I kept thinking, man, they are going to get exposed in coverage. And they got exposed in coverage. Now, some other things stepped up last year that I didn't anticipate, and that's always true, too. There's always something that you don't expect on the positive side of things to happen that usually does. Usually there's a player or two that surprises you and takes a step forward. And if that happens to go along with the optimism I'm describing just based on depth in some areas, improved depth and competition in some areas, then Florida State could be a pretty good team. And that's a different way of viewing spring than the last three springs, really.
Yeah, the way I'd look at it is last year's spring camp.
We'll get him.
Was there no sound?
Still muted. We're working. What's going on here? Uh-oh.
You there?
There he is.
All right. So the thing I'd say is last year's spring to this year's spring, if you look at it as three camps, they've gotten markedly better each camp. Now, last year's in the fall, the improvements weren't enough, to amass anything close to 8 wins, but it was better. You could just see in the spring they had no hope. In the fall, there was a little bit of hope. And if they didn't, screw around in the Jacksonville State game, they would have played in a bowl game. This camp, you go, okay, this is another incremental bit of growth. It's just evident everywhere you look. The reps are better. There are more reps in this camp being won for good reasons by somebody who makes a good play rather than they're won by default because a defensive back has no chance to cover a receiver or a tackle or a guard has no chance to block a defensive lineman. I'm talking about the ones. They need to build up that depth, but you're seeing more reps won. And that's the thing that jumped out to us in the beginning when they were in shorts with the receivers, that the receivers were actually winning some battles. The pads come on. It has continued. The receivers are going and finding the football. They're making contested catches. They're creating separation off the line of scrimmage. On the defensive side, you have edge rushers who are unproven, winning some battles. McClendon started out with his hair on fire in camp. It's been limited some, but he still shows flashes, and Jared Verse has just been consistently getting better. Practice after practice after practice. I have to imagine if he had a good day on Saturday, which is what we're hearing, that his confidence should be through the roof when we watch practice tomorrow because he knew and he put it on a pedestal. He said it himself in media availability last week that this is where the depth chart is set. So he knew that there was extra pressure and he responded to it. I'm looking forward to seeing how this group responds to what sounds like and amounts to a well-played scrimmage, what it does for their confidence and how the reps look and sound. Maybe the offense has a little bit of edge to them on Tuesday and Thursday because they lost this first scrimmage by most accounts.
Something we didn't bring up when we gave the plus-minus grades in where we're at in assessing this team. I know Ira wrote a piece on Warchant.com that you can read with some of his observations as well. We didn't bring up tight ends. And Lord knows we could spend several shows breaking down the tight end room because there are 11 of them. But oddly, I think we can get to the heart of the matter here. And I don't think this does anybody, I don't know, this doesn't embolden anybody. And maybe that's unfair to the young man. But have you not thought, because I've never brought this up to you, so this will be an honest reaction here. I thought Wyatt Rector has been by far the second best tight end in camp. He's made some great plays, contested catches down the football field. I don't know that I'm buoyed by that. That I don't feel good about that, but that's the truth of what's happened. Now, I think that I keep waiting on Jackson West. I don't know, Douglas is what he is. Brian Courtney's the guy that everybody is excited about, but he hasn't really done much in camp other than when you watch him run, you're like impressed by that size and mobility, but he's not making plays in these moments where they're going good on good. I don't know, man. That room is still a bit of an enigma. It's a little frustrating for an offense that relies heavily on the position, that wants to utilize a diverse set of skills at the position. They only have Cam McDonald as a guy that they know that you can roll out there and you believe in. He's got weaknesses in his game. He's an average tight end at this level, although he looks like an NFL player, body type wise. I like that kid. He works hard. He's a smart kid and seems to do everything he can to get the most out of what he has. But again, it's limited, and I'm not seeing anything behind him that I feel great about. But Wyatt Rector has been the second best tight end out there.
Yeah, Mark Easton's had a few moments in practice where you say, oh, okay, that's a nice moment. That's a good flash play, but he's not playing with the consistency that I think he can be your sixth offensive lineman and play whatever role. Because there's a bunch of different ways that Mike Norvell would like to use the tight end position. There's like the on the end of the line guy that you're used to seeing in old pro style offenses back in the day, like Jordan Wilson. That's what they were trying to get out of him to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
There's the H back in the backfield. There's the Nick O'Leary type that Jimbo Fisher used. Brian Courtney projects to be that Nick O'Leary type towards the end of his career, or, maybe in a year or two. I think it's too much too soon, but the flashes are already there. Like, he does things that you can't teach, which is great. And so he will be somebody that we look forward to watching down the line, but I don't think that time is now. You're right about Wyatt Rector. He's been more consistent than most. I saw Jackson West deliver one of the great pancake blocks of camp last week, which was pretty impressive. It was on a linebacker. I'm not saying it was on a D tackle or anything like that. But you're reaching when you're talking about this segment group. And maybe it's one that if you've got an extra spot and somebody fits this offense, maybe that's what you dip into the portal for. Because I think if you're talking about instant impact of an above average Power 5 level player on in any position group on this roster, it's offensive line first, and it might be tight end second. Now that you have Tatum Bethune, it might be tight end.
Yeah, I'm tired of waiting on that room, man. I think part of the frustration is that you look at the roster and you're like, really? 11 of these guys that nobody can play? Part of it is, and there are some guys, I'll just say it, man. There's some guys on this team at that position who can't play a lick, not even marginal, like have no business being out there.
Yeah, the way I describe it is that position group looks, compared to what Florida State should look like most of them did last year in spring camp. So if I'm trying to spin what you're talking about into a positive and be a member of the JCS PR firm, the way I'd be the member of the PR firm is to say that most segment groups look like tight end room.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Man, when we get down that depth chart, the tight end room, you know this because you've been next to me. I'm shook by how bad it is. I'm just like, I'd say terrible things in my head about some of the guys we roll out there.
In your head.
Well, mostly in my head. Unless you're around, then I feel comfortable vetting. Or venting in this case. I do. It's just not right. It's not right, Tom. You can't have 11 guys, 7 of whom suck to high heaven at that position. That just stop it. We're wasting spots.
Well, maybe you have Johnny Wilson run some things that a tight end would run in Mike Norvell's offense, but you just keep calling him a receiver because clearly Johnny Wilson wants to be called and termed a receiver.
Right.
And I could understand why. If you've got a pro resume, you're going to make a hell of a lot more money as a receiver than as a tight end. But yeah, I mean, it's the thing that's frustrating is in this offense, that particular position can be the difference. It could be the difference between a close win or a big win, or a close win and a close loss. And I feel like we're hindered there. If Cam didn't come back, I don't know what we would have done. It's
suck even worse.
It's thin. Yes, there it is. It's thin.
That's what we would have done. We would have been in dire straits. It's very aggravating. I would also note that we haven't mentioned it yet, so I'm going to bring it up. Duke, North Carolina in the Final Four, and it was an ACC love fest over the weekend with all the ACC squads playing. And for a time there at half, Miami has the lead on Kansas. I'm like, oh, boy, the terrible ACC is just making all kinds of inroads. Now, I was glad to see the team that we swept during the course of this year bow out to one of the great terrible rugs still around in the game, which is Bill Self's rug, which I remember calling out the day I saw it. He went from balding, really balding quickly, to all of a sudden having this snap-on thing that he put on, and then just unwavering in his support of that ridiculous rug. He's never altered it. It's still just as sorry as the day it was when he made its debut.
Yeah, can I say, what is it about basketball and bad rugs? Because, a few of them come to mind immediately.
And if they're not bad rugs, they'll color their hair.
Yes.
Excessively, where you're like, what are we doing here?
There is something
You're 80
about,
years old. Who are you kidding?
Yeah, they don't live in reality in the basketball world. Mike Fratello back in the day.
Oh, buddy.
Joe Lunardi. That's one of the
Jesus. Joe's that may be one of the worst wigs ever.
That looks
William
like
Shatner level 80s wig.
It looks like the thing you snap on the top of a Lego man.
Right.
Like the hair you put on the Lego man.
Mm-hmm.
What is it about basketball? Many other walks of life, they figured out how to make it at least somewhat believable. In football, you don't see a lot of them. Tom Brady's got one of the best ones of all time.
All-time great wig.
But not basketball.
No, not basketball. And they're very visible in basketball. So that's the one where you got to put the extra effort in. You don't have a helmet to hide. You're out there. You're on Front Street, baby. You better get something solid where we're not. Like, that can't be the first thing I think. Like, Bill Self has been an uber successful coach and then some. But I don't think about those successes. When you say Bill Self in Kansas, I go, that's a piece, huh? Look at all that. Look at all that rug right there, huh? That's the first thing I think of. I don't think of great X's and O's, great coach, gets the most, really good recruiter. I don't think anything like that. I'm like, look at that thing. I forgot about it until we get to the Sweet 16 every year. Then I see him again and I go, well, there's Kansas again, and that ridiculous ass wig. Anyhow, I'm glad they won the game. By the way, I have to say that for the most part, I'm less high on, or not as enthusiastic on, any of the Cinderellas that entertain us in the tournament year in and year out. I love upsets just like everybody else. It's one of the magnificent things that happens in this tournament. It's what's unique to this tournament. But most of the time, I am always falling back on the knowledge that no matter how great a story it is, the cream rises to the top and you end up with a Final Four that looks a lot like Blue Bloods year in and year out, right? It fills up with these teams that have been almost in perpetuity giants. Now, there are exceptions. I get it. There are exceptions. But just proof of what we're talking about, the real Cinderellas of the world, a 15 seed like St. Peter's, has never made it to the Elite Eight. And they did this year. And I wanted to bring it up because I wanted to say I loved it. I thought that was fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It made me laugh. And I'll tell you why. For all the criticism that our fan base in particular levies at Leonard Hamilton, can you imagine being part of that Purdue fan base and losing to that team? They should be ashamed of themselves, and he should be ashamed of himself. That is humiliating. He rolls out a land of giants with perimeter shooters everywhere, NBA star talent, 4 deep at least going to the league, and they lost to that team. That's humiliating. That is absolutely, that would be something that would infuriate me. If I were a Purdue fan, you remember watching Purdue early in the season, obviously boat race our ass, but then you turned around and watched them for much of the year. The one thing that was lacking with them is they didn't defend, but they were never lacking for star power offensively. They were never lacking for size on the interior. They were never lacking for shooters on the perimeter or handlers. And they had everything a team could want, and they get the gift of a lifetime. They get this St. Peter's squad that has no business being where they are, right? They're just the defensive principles. That's how they won, and they stuck to them. And it's hey, kudos, great. But at some point, the clock strikes midnight, and we're all saying the clock is striking midnight when you face Purdue. You've got nothing. You have no answers at 4 different positions for what Purdue's bringing to the table, and Purdue loses that game. That's humiliating. Good for St. Peter.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you there. And that's also a MAC team. So there you go. The MAC team does what Florida State could not on the road. But yeah, if Purdue played, I think just about every team I've seen in college basketball in the last 3-4 years, the night that they played us at home in the ACC Big Ten Challenge, I think they beat every single one of them. And that looks sustainable. Leonard's comments afterwards, he's not usually this effusive, but his post-game presser was, that's one of the best teams I've seen in a long, long time. That's just, that team is, that's ridiculous. And if that's how you start a year and you set up all these expectations in a conference everybody was all too quick to crown as the biggest and best conference in the country in terms of total talent, top to bottom, and then you lose to a 15 seed. Yeah. But there, on one note about, the cream rises to the top. What's interesting is I saw a note on ESPN Sports or Stats and Info today. This is the first time in tournament history that there are multiple champions in every one of the final 4 slots. First time in history that there's been multiple
champions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the oddity when we went into this thing was I talked a little bit about, Duke being one of the 7 or so teams I thought could win the national title if they put it all together. They have. One thing that stands out when we go through these teams, go through and look at, there are any number of articles. You can do this in North Carolina as well, in Kansas, and on down the line. When you do this, do the exercise of how many players, for example, are going to get drafted in the first round. And if you're looking at Duke or have first round grades, Tom. So when we talk about now you're cooking with gas as opposed to what Leonard has to try to make work, or any program for that matter who's not that high on the list. So we know Banchero will go top 5. AJ Griffin will go top 10. Trevor Keels projects as a late first rounder. Our man Wendell.
God bless him.
Second round. I mean, he's going to the league. Mark Williams, first round, the center. First round. So I'm giving you Duke's starting lineup, and it's like 4 of the 5 going in the first round. They're going in the first round. 2 in the top 10.
Well, it's about time. They need to pull what Florida State did or one up us, because we had 3 go in last year's draft, and I think we were going. Yeah. You need to be as decorated as Leonard. This is our down year. So, because Mike, he had the COVID year where they couldn't win 10 games. So it's about time he bounces back. And it's, I think it's fitting to put a ribbon around the talk about rugs and coloring. It should be Bill Self versus Coach K for the title, because you've got
a magnificent wig and jet black paint.
It's natural, all the time.
It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3. Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV. Irash fell from Warchant.com. I think coming up, because I've gone long. It's 25 after. He can go 2:30. He can, right? He canceled. What are we doing?
Yeah, he got tied up. They're doing pro day.
I don't want to hear all this nonsense. Poppycock, Ira. That's poppycock. Pro day sucks. Our partner, ISF Inc., is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark TSparkConstruction.com. Hello, I'm Travis Sparkman, owner of T-Spark Enterprises. Rain season is upon us, and we get calls for water intrusion in residential and commercial space every time it rains. Most people see a ceiling stain and they think they have a roof leak. We see a ceiling stain and begin to investigate because often we find it's not a roof leak. Many of our leak investigations lead to other building construction issues outside of the roof. We beg you, don't pay for roof repairs when the water intrusion may be a masonry leak or a poor construction design in your home or business. Give us a call at 766-1340 and let our experienced leak technicians diagnose the problem and prevent you from throwing away good money. License number CCC 133-1204.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
This is Dr. James Ryan Finn from Finn Chiropractic. In today's world, people are just stressed out. That could be causing subluxation of your spine. These misaligned vertebrae put pressure on the nerves and they shut your body down and it stops it from healing. So if you or a loved one are suffering from a condition with pain in your muscles, your tendons, or your joints, reach out to us at finnchiro.com and take advantage of our new patient special offer. That's FENNCHIRO.com, because your chiropractor loves you and there's nothing you can do about it.
If you're like most Americans, you're pretty much in disbelief with what's going on in the world. As we all know, global problems are having local consequences, too many of them. And if the peanut butter really hits the fan, are you ready? Grocery store supply chains are only as strong as their weakest link. Don't wait for them to break. Now's the time to secure emergency food for everyone in your family. My Patriot Supply is America's largest preparedness company. Our specially packaged and delicious food stays fresh for up to 25 years in storage. It'll be there when you need it. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and pick up several emergency food kits. There are a dozen different sizes that average over 2,000 calories per day. Our food kits will ship quickly and discreetly to your door. Having food storage in your home beats government food lines hands down. Go to mypatriotsupply.com today and prepare for what's coming. mypatriotsupply.com.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Do what he's doing, but I think that's kind of he has cemented himself at this point. It's been fun to by the way, Tom, who are you rooting for? Are you going to root for North Carolina or are you going to root for Duke?
Oh, North Carolina. That's an easy answer. I want to see exactly what happened.
Yeah, you want to see them get boat raced?
Again. I want to see it happen again. I would, because it's going to be on so many layers. You'll see the Duke fans in the stands. They're really, really good at this on the NCAA tournament to capture that fan.
Yeah.
It's going to be on everybody's, memes or whatever. And then Jim Nance, oh my, he's going to cry. Jim Nance will weep on the broadcast if North Carolina wins by double digits. So that's exactly what I'm pulling for.
Did you happen, across because it's that time of year. By the way, I hate both programs is why I asked you the question. I have no love for either program whatsoever. Sure, in some way, I'll derive pleasure from Duke losing and whatever look it is on the entitled fan's face that's weeping in the stands that they zoom in on repeatedly. Yes, I agree with you. That'd be great. If they win, it won't hurt my feelings to see North Carolina exited either. A program that has gotten away with a ton of academic fraud, as pointed out here by Live Spectator. That's correct. Just a program that has run amok. That said, you know what? They could not have been more excited by what they got in this tournament. That's ratings gold. Can you imagine? The vast majority of the country's tuning into that game, and they are going to sing the praises of that matchup, as opposed to, say, Villanova, Kansas, which in its own right is two blue bloods, obviously.
Yeah.
But the sexier matchup, without question, is Carolina Duke.
No, this is one I'll watch, like that I will be excited to tune into. Usually the Final Four is like, all right, if the Lightning aren't playing or there isn't something cool going on. Baseball usually has begun by that point in the calendar. In this case, it won't have. But because it's this game, because it's Coach K's final one, I'm watching just, kind of giggling as I turn, are they going to do it? Is this going to happen again?
Yeah, but that man may end up walking out with double middle fingers to Tom Lang and people like him. He may end up rolling on here and winning the national championship in his final year.
I'm the ultimate winner.
Yeah. Hey, if he wins, he should do it. He should do it. He should stand up there and be the heel. And, and reference the loss at home and talk about how they may have won the battle, but we won the war, because that's what I do. Like, he should do it.
Yeah, like Bill Murray at a bowling alley. That's what he should do. He should just walk around the court going, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't believe it.
He should do it. I have to mention this because when I read it, I about spit my coffee out. And I can't know how it is that a producer doesn't get into his ear. But we're in mock draft season, and you know how much we on the JCS love mock draft season in because everybody falls all over themselves to do these projections and trades, and we all live in La La Land, and it's crazy. It's like a dreamland of a trade here and a trade there. But we love comps these days. That's the big way to go about the world, is to comp. Now, that's born out of baseball. Typically, that was something I think born out of baseball. He's most akin to Jim Rice, or he's most akin to Barry Bonds, or whatever you want to compare. And I get that in a game where statistical measurements, advanced metrics included in today's game especially, lends itself to comparing a ball player's totality, like what they are, defensive zone metrics, all that stuff, right? But now we've done it in football, where we try to comp a running back to other running backs, receivers to other receivers from bygone eras, or body types, or whatever it might be. Mel Kiper, and I got to guess, now I don't think Mel Kiper is racist. I'm not saying Mel Kiper's racist. I'm not saying that at all, Tom. But I had to raise an eyebrow when he was asked to comp Malik Willis. Now, you know who Malik Willis is.
Oh, man, where is this going? Yeah,
Malik Willis, a big kid, a really big kid, right? I mean, he's the quarter. By the way, those at home who don't know, he's the quarterback at Liberty. You've watched Malik Willis play, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Me too. Me too. You know who I didn't think of immediately?
Michael Vick.
That's correct. That's correct.
Oh, he did not.
He did.
Oh, my
God. He did.
Oh.
Come on, Mel Kiper. What are we doing?
Oh, no.
Mel Kiper said, I couldn't believe it, about Malik Willis, that he's a bigger Michael. What the hell are you talking about? Their games don't resemble one another at all. You know what does resemble one another? The pigmentation of their skin. That's it. That's all. Nothing else about their game resembles each other in any way, shape, or form. You mean to tell me, as far as we've come, and with as many choices as possible, that's who Mel Kiper went with when describing Malik Willis? Oh. He's like Michael Vick. Did you notice that when I asked you the question, and didn't tell you I was going to ask you the question, that clearly I was soliciting from you the most absurd comparison possible, and you reached into your bag of absurdity and grabbed Michael Vick because that's who he least resembles as a quarterback, but who would be the easiest to fall back on if we were using tropes and stereotypes, the way that Mel Kiper clearly did when saying, I don't know, he's a lot like Michael Vick. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
So I've been uncomfortable now for about 3-4 minutes in a row. Once you said, I don't believe Mel Kiper's a racist, and I was bracing.
Yeah.
Michael Vick is no.
They're not even. What are we doing?
How do you not edit that? Was that live? Was that a recorded hit? What was that? Oh, no, sir.
I read it. I couldn't believe it was allowed to be there. I don't know if it still is, but I was like, what is this? If they posted it alongside his picture for a video that they had up there, and they were just trying to clickbait you. They were trying to clickbait you, and they had his little piece. I'll have to go back. I didn't dare click on it because I was like, really? That's where we're going? We're going to go with Michael Vick? Nothing. So I'm going to now, in the spirit of the joke, the ongoing joke, Tom, from now on, and we'll have to clarify it for new listeners, I'm going to do that. If I'm going to compare white quarterbacks, I'm going to compare the whitest white quarterback of all time to any other white quarterback that's coming out ever. And any black quarterback that's coming out, you're not allowed to compare them, their skill set or anything else to white quarterbacks. It can only be other black quarterbacks, and they have to be of the really athletic type. It can't be a pocket passing black quarterback. It has to be only the most athletic quarterback that's ever played in Michael Vick. That's every black quarterback from here on out, Tommy. You'll be in on the joke, and everybody who knows me knows that this is clearly me making fun of Mel Kiper, but there will be some people who are like, what is this guy saying? Because that's what I'm going to do from here on out.
You know what I see when I look at Tom Brady? I see a lot of Steve Young. You know, it's just there's something about the way Tom Brady plays the game. It just it reeks of Steve Young. It's just amazing to see. They're so similar the way the two play.
Nothing alike at all. No, it's just I couldn't believe that's what he fell back on. I went, okay, all right, that's what we're doing here. As far as the player, Malik Willis, he is in many ways kind of the interesting figure in the draft because he's been projected as high as top 5 and as low as early second round. So when we're actually looking at the measurables, the numbers, the teams that might select quarterback and the manipulation of the draft, which is not that far away, which I love. And we do engage in this and have draft parties, and we're going to do it again this year. And it's always fun. I actually do care about assessing players realistically as opposed to falling back on said tropes. But I do want to look at like 5 or 6 guys that will decide how the draft plays out. And he is high on that list of guys that will help us pivot for what team does what or who decides to move up.
Do you know how much more of a household name Malik Willis would be right now if he played anything close to Michael Vick? He would be viral 10, 15 times over.
Correct.
Name me Malik Willis's viral moment in college where he makes like 12 dudes miss on a play while running a 4-3 down the sideline. Like,
he didn't do that. He didn't do that because his game doesn't resemble that of Michael Vick's.
And I know that there are 11 on the field, but Michael would make somebody miss 2 or 3 times. I mean,
Michael was a freak of nature. He was a freak of nature. And I'm not saying, Michael had weaknesses in his game. We know that. And in fact, those were always brought to the forefront whenever he took on a team with great speed at linebacker, like say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because then I'm going to make you stand in the pocket and throw the football at 6 feet tall.
You know, this is a perfect footnote in history because if you recall the overtime run against the Vikings by Michael Vick in his rookie season and how crazy that was, the call, I don't know if it was Wes Durham or who it was, says somebody's call was the incomparable Mike Vick. Well, Mel Kiper says, hold my beer.
Yeah, I got you. I've been waiting for this day. I've been waiting for this day. The Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
News now.
An off-duty Capitol Police officer is being applauded for helping assist a little boy on Highway 27 in northern Tallahassee earlier this week. Officer Sadler was driving to dinner with his wife Tuesday night when he noticed a young boy riding a scooter on the busy highway. The young boy was almost hit by passing vehicles, leading the officer to quickly and safely cross the median and move him to safety away from the road's potentially deadly traffic. FDLE said the young kid told the officer he left his home trying to reach Publix to see his mother. Officer Sadler and his wife kept the young boy safe until Leon County Sheriff's Office deputies arrived. survived. A car left Old Bainbridge Road and went into the river near the Gadsden-Leon County line Saturday afternoon. The Leon County dive team was deployed to search for the vehicle and its occupant. They were able to locate the vehicle and work to retrieve it. The dive teams did find the body within the car. There is an active death investigation surrounding the circumstances around this incident. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Clear skies this afternoon with highs around 83. Winds out of the west, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies and quiet tonight, lows around 55. Daytime highs approaching 83 tomorrow, mainly clear skies. Highs level off around 80 Wednesday under cloudy skies. 76 Thursday, chance for scattered storms. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 80.
What do you need tires on? Your car or truck, tractor or heavy equipment? At Nice Tire and Auto Service, we have tires for all of these needs. And we service your vehicle from air conditioning and computerized alignment to oil changes and everything else under the hood. Call Nice Tire and Auto today at 574-4100. That's 574-4100 for your scheduled maintenance. National accounts welcome at Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
A woman only identified as Mrs. Wong posted on Chinese social media. She had gotten locked down after a first blind date. She discovered that their date's community had gone into swift lockdown after visiting his house for a meal.
This absolutely has to become a romantic comedy. Lockdown Love. He was looking for Mrs. Right, but he found Mrs. Wong.
Lockdown. Starring Matthew McConaughey. All right.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3. The Jeff Cameron Show is sponsored by the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans. Great rates, cutting-edge technology, and transparent.
Are back to their winning ways, which is a good thing. I know during the break, for those of you listening on the radio side of things, you heard about our friends Chad and Shannon, legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans that joined us as partners in the Jeff Cameron Show some time ago. And it's good to be associated with and work alongside and promote our friends, Shannon, Chad, legendary team, as noted, Hamilton Home Loans. And it's good to provide for you a phone number if, in fact, you're in the market for a home loan and you want a straightforward 5-star mortgage experience, cutting-edge technology. The process is not intimidating. It's an opportunity, and they see it as an opportunity to really kind of simplify the process and help you out, whether it's what you need right now. Could be a friend of yours that you might want to suggest and point this way. They are diehard Noles, fellow Noles of ours, and they can't wait to help you. Give them a call today, 844-FSU-LOAN. That's 844-FSU-LOAN. Or you can check them out online, learn more about Shannon and Chad, the legendary team at Hamilton Home Loans. It's FSUHomeLoans.com, online, FSUHomeLoans.com. All right, so this story is one that, gives us all hope. A bettor, Tom, turned a $25 wager into over $43,000 in cash on a 4-leg parlay by correctly predicting the men's Final Four teams. And obviously those four Duke, Kansas, North Carolina, Villanova, winning their respective regions. The 4 Blue Bloods won, and that meant a ton of money for this guy. He placed the bet early in March, predicting those exact 4 teams as each of the 4 region winners. So $43,218 later is how that cashed. And by the way, he got Duke at that time plus 480, Villanova at that time to win the South region. So he was guessing regions plus 390. North Carolina to win the East region at plus 2,000. Kansas to win the Midwest region at plus 200. $25 wager, total payout $43,218. And when you read it off like that, you realize, man, that's something we could have done. I liked Carolina going into the tournament, talked about how hot they were, how talented they were. I don't know that I would have selected them Final Four, but if you gave them to me at that insane amount, plus 2,000, I might have thrown pizza money that way. Plus 2,000, yeah. Kansas, it seemed like a no-brainer. They ended up being a 1 seed. Obviously, Duke was one of the 7 or 8 teams you thought had a chance to win a national championship. You just needed them to right the ship, and they did. Man, Villanova, arguably the best coach in the tournament. Current. He's got 2 national titles.
Yeah, I'd say, the North Carolina long shot, not me. If you're looking at my bracket, I think I was 0 for 4 in my Final Four. I thought that I believed that there was going to be a heavy Big Ten presence in the Final Four. And there's no Big Ten presence in the Final Four. I had Purdue winning the national championship because I figured however you like to roll it out there, they'll be able to play it. They'll be able to score against it.
Yes.
And then,
they lost to a 15 seed.
Yeah, St. Peter's like, no, that's not the case at all. You're wrong. So, I think I might have been able to hit one of those, but that parlay ticket would have been, I think, 2 hours old when it comes to that first Thursday.
Yeah.
That's kind of the end of that, yeah.
Every time you have fun sprinkling pizza money on a parlay, you're always just, trying to find things to group where it is plausible. And seeing Carolina at plus 2,000, obviously the payoff is huge if you include it because everybody else is plus 390, plus 200. There's not real value in doing that. Placing a plus 200 bet is nice on Kansas to get there, but only if you marry it with a plus 2,000 bet that Carolina is going to be there. And then, if you wanted to marry those two with Villanova. By the way, unfortunately for Villanova, and I watched this as it happened, 50-44 over Houston. I thought Houston had a chance to win the national championship this year, but they went 1 for the world from beyond the arc. So bad night to just miss every damn shot you take from beyond the arc, save for 1. But losing Justin Moore to a ruptured Achilles, brutal for Villanova. I mean, that, in my mind, probably excludes them from winning a national championship. Can you imagine? I mean, listen, nobody's crying tears for Villanova, who's frequently in the Final Four and, routinely a team that you could see vying for a national championship. But, man, to go that far, I hate it for that young man. Hate it. To go that far to get to that point. And at the end of the game to boot, you're like, really? Okay, the Final Four, that I'm going to lose a ruptured Achilles? Sweet Jesus.
Yeah, the thing that makes the tournament so much better and so much more entertaining than college football in this sense is what would a $25 parlay get you in college football for naming the Final Four in the playoff? Like $30? It would pay out 5 in profit because 3 of them already.
Yeah,
it seems to be every year.
You got to find the 4th that is the low-key surprise.
Yeah.
And it's a low-key surprise because it's only going to be one of 7 or 8 teams that you're going to choose from. And this is a problem. We do this a lot. Before the start of every football season, we kind of write in, all right, well, Alabama, Ohio State.
Georgia.
Yeah, well, these days now, Georgia, yeah. You got to find that 4th. Yeah, it's aggravating. Most years you could be like, well, Notre Dame could back in and get their ass stomping. You can find, I guess this year, had you said Cincinnati before the year, you would have made good money. And you knew, by the way, that your bet for that to happen. Now, it got a little dicey for a while there, but the game they had to win was the road Notre Dame game. Cincinnati basically had 2 chances to prove themselves. One was a road game against Indiana, who's not any good, and they barely won, came down to the wire. That wasn't a good look for them, by the way, but it was a Power 5 opponent. And then, obviously, the game in which they dominated Notre Dame certainly catapulted them there. If you had that ticket, you would have breathed a sigh of relief after the Indiana game, and you would have been celebrating after that Notre Dame game because it certainly looked like they had a real good chance to clear that path.
What's interesting now is you can take Oklahoma out of the equation unless they prove it under Brent Venables.
As soon as Southern Cal is going to be the other team.
There it is. Because also the Pac-12 has had a lot of representatives over the years. They just usually get waxed unless it was Oregon against us. But, Washington will get shut out, or if Oregon made it, they would. But there's always that fourth group or that fourth team that makes that semifinal Saturday or semifinal whatever day of the week it is just terrible and less than watchable. But USC probably figures to be in that conversation maybe as soon as this year because
soon.
the Pac-12 is light.
Yeah, they might. The 1 year Michigan State made it. You're like, what is going on here? What, Michigan State has made it? Yeah, them and Washington, I think, were the two that I was like, well, okay. Because you could see the path for Cincinnati getting there. It was building to that point. They still needed some breaks and some things to happen. They almost didn't get there anyhow. And frankly, I'd be quick to kick teams like that to the curb. I'm not one of these people that bleed for the teams that play the schedule that Cincinnati plays. But anyhow, come back, wrap it up momentarily. We'll give you some of those best bets. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Whidden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Whidden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Whidden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Whidden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
Applications, onboarding, payroll, termination. Business owners and managers, these are the processes that take away too much time from what you do best. But what if there was a locally owned, responsive solution that would charge you a fraction of the big national payroll companies? Sound too good to be true? It's not. North Florida Payroll Services is Tallahassee owned for nearly 15 years. And in that time, their prices have never changed. The reason North Florida Payroll Services can do that? Exceptional customer service that constantly evolves with the latest technology. From application to termination, for turnkey service for your payroll and HR services, trust a Tallahassee expert and save yourself time and money. North Florida Payroll Services. Online at northfloridapayroll.com.
Refreshing and simple. 2 words you don't hear many people use to describe their experience going through the process of getting a home loan. That's what puts the Hamilton Home Loans experience in a category all their own. If you're buying or refinancing a home, Hamilton Home Loans will provide a personalized mortgage experience that is dedicated to making the process refreshingly simple. It all begins with an initial consultation with an experienced Hamilton Home Loans advisor to find out what your goals are in order to find the right mortgage to suit your specific needs. Then, your personal home loan advisor will take you through all the steps from application, underwriting, approval, and closing, all the way to the front steps of your new home. Once you've experienced the Hamilton Home Loan process, you can be a customer for life and never have to pay lender fees again. For first responders, nurses, physician assistants, teachers, active and retired military, ask about the Hamilton for Heroes program. Personalized attention with your needs put first. Now that's refreshingly simple. Find out more at HamiltonHomeLoans.com. That's HamiltonHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 200719.
Siri, tell me a joke. The past, present, and future walk into a bar. It was tense.
All jokes aside, the trained professionals at Mac & More Systems are serious about Apple products. For all your Mac repairs, call Mac & More Systems at 894-3622. 894-3622.
Live and living color and totally free. Subscribe to Warchant TV on YouTube, the digital home of Warchant.com. From the practice field to pregame and the phone calls afterwards, Warchant's YouTube channel is home to live programming like Seminole Headlines, Wake Up Warchant, The Jeff Cameron Show, as well as Trench Talk, a live Q&A with Noles offensive lineman Devontae Love-Taylor. Just search Warchant on YouTube and click or tap the subscribe button. That's it. It's totally free. Warchant TV on YouTube. Just another reason we're the ultimate Seminole sports source.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.
Baseball season gets closer. I know. I'm always speaking to the older part of the demographic that listens to this show, as I reference my and espouse my love of baseball. Let's get to both that and the bets. North Florida Payroll Services, locally owned for nearly 15 years, offering payroll and HR services, including full online applicant onboarding and integration into payroll. Save your company money and headaches today. Head to northfloridapayroll.com.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
All right. Framber Valdez going for the Astros. Good way to start. Adam Wainwright's 105 years old. Got the start today at Roger Dean Stadium there in Clearwater. Remember, Tom, I used to have to read those? Roger Dean Stadium. Orioles and Phillies. That is Dean Kramer and Christopher Sanchez. Blue Jays, Braves. They're in the 6th. Sean Anderson, Spencer Strider. Good name. Marlins, Nats. Edward Cabrera and Patrick Corbin. Yanks, Tigers. Diego Garcia and Eduardo Rodriguez. Guardians, Royals, Adam Scott. Hey, now. Zach Greinke. He's also old. Padres, White Sox, Joe Musgrove, Lucas Giolito. Dodgers, D-backs, Clayton Kershaw, Corbin Martin. A's, Angels, Paul Blackburn and Noah Syndergaard. I don't know why I forgot Noah Syndergaard's with the Angels. Rangers, Mariners, that is Glenn Otto. Glenn Otto. Hey, Tom, you'll like this. It's Glenn Otto and Robbie Ray. Hey. I'm Glenn Otto. Welcome to Glenn Otto. How can I show you this automobile? Robbie Ray. Giants, Brewers, Logan Webb, Corbin Burns, Cubs, Reds, Marcus Stroman, Tyler Mahal, and that is a look at those that shall reside on the bump. Nice, Ryan. Good for you. San Francisco Giants had a deal for $5 tickets for April and May. Excited to get back in a ballpark soon, especially that one. It's a great ballpark. I love that ballpark. I saw the Marlins play the Giants there a few years back and thoroughly enjoyed it. And, yeah, it's one of the good ballparks. That one, I've not been to the new Citi Field. Tom's ballpark there is a nice one. Obviously, PNC routinely thought of as one of the best 2 or 3 ballparks in all of baseball. I think it's the best. I still love a number of ballparks that I haven't visited in a while, but I've had the good fortune of I think I've been to 20 some odd ballparks. That's good news. It's minutes or seconds. Minutes. Good. Here we go. I'm going to take Kansas and jump on that 4 before that line changed. I did that and laid the 4. I think Villanova is going to have some problems there. Jumped on it early. We'll do a college sports book write-up for that. Not a ton in terms of the overall numbers out there. I'm going to start looking at win totals for Major League Baseball this week. I saw where the A's total is somewhere in the neighborhood of 69.5. I'm going to go over that. They always find a way to do that. I'm going to go over that. I'll take a look at a couple of others that I'm intrigued by. I like that Twins team, by the way, which we mentioned at the end of last week. You'll be able to watch a lot of Twins games, Tom, in your household, obviously. I think that's a fun team, and I like what they've done. I think they can win more. I think that number was somewhere around 78. I'm going over that. I think they could win in the 80s. So it's time for us to get down to the nitty-gritty and find the values on win totals. You got anything for tonight?
Yeah, I haven't looked at the win totals yet. I'm glad you mentioned that. Take a look at the Augusta odds as well. Maybe put a flyer on Tiger Woods for a top 10 or a top 20 because there are a lot of rumors circulating that he may be, in fact, playing against them.
All right.
So tonight, pizza money. No more than pizza money. This is a small hunch. Play the Arizona Coyotes over the Edmonton Oilers. There is trouble again in Edmonton.
God.
They just gave up 9 goals in their previous game. Arizona to win is a plus 300 proposition. Just a little guy, just to keep you interested.
Yeah,
and then also
pizza money.
Washington to beat Carolina tonight. Put them in their small play.
I like it. Thank you very much, sir. Good work out of you. Good work, Matthew. Thanks to all of you. Be well, everybody. And don't forget to check out warchant.com. Take care. We'll talk to you tomorrow.